I always think while I'm playing, there's an electronic green room where all the characters are like drinking coffee, waiting to see who goes on, And when you get game over, would you like to restart? Link reappears inside the green room, and Ganon looks at him and says, "Oh, is Billy controlling you again?" Well, that explains it. It's just like this is like your fourth return in 20 minutes. What's going on?
Welcome back to Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches. I'm Noah.
And I'm Richard.
And today, our first video game video.
It is our first video game video.
First time we've talked about it.
And I am really unqualified to talk about video games for the most part because there are two that I play. Exactly two video games that I play. And
both of them are by Nintendo.
Both of them are by Nintendo, and primarily because I'm really, for the first time ever, intrigued with the question of what is going to happen to Zelda. Mm-hmm. It is the first time I've ever cared. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about The Legend of Zelda, and by no means a comprehensive analysis. I am not a Legend of Zelda geek. I haven't played all the games. We should really have your brother here.
He even hasn't played all the games. I mean, you've played a decent amount of. You've played most of the 3D ones, I think.
Not
all of them.
We got our first Legend of Zelda game, I believe, when we got Wind Waker.
Yeah.
And I remember, and this was back when you were 4, 3. You were pretty young. Am I thinking of Ocarina of Time? No, wait, hang on. Let me do the math on this. Let me do the math. You're laughing.
Oh, because I know the timeline.
How old were you?
I was closing, so we got the GameCube about a year or two before the Wii came out. So the GameCube was just about to go out, and the Wii was just about to come in.
So you're about 6?
So, no. We were, I was closer to 10 or 11.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Because the Wii came out in 2007.
No, I can tell you why you're wrong. And of course, we might want to restart this because this might be the most boring video introduction.
Or it might not. We'll find out.
We lived in St. Joe when we got it.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
We lived in Lansing.
No, we did not.
We did. I know for a fact that we did. We'll put a please stand by in.
Hey, where would Melissa Barrett be? Oh, all right. Have her call her husband when she gets off the phone, please. Thank you. We'll have to settle this one later. Anyway, I remember watching your mother play Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Wind Waker. And I remember looking at everything she had to do at Wind Waker, and I remember thinking, in fact, I even said out loud, I will never play this game. This is tedious and horrible. And then I tried it, and I was hooked.
And it became your favorite game.
Well, it was also our only game for a while.
It was one of our only games for a while. We rented it.
And then...
to start.
Yeah, we may have rented it to start.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved on to Ocarina of Time.
Yes.
Which I remember, which might be one of the reasons why the earlier time is stuck in my head because of the copyright at the beginning of Ocarina of Time, which you see every time you fire it up and you see the screen.
Well, the Wind Waker copyright is also 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
Because that's when that game came out.
Ocarina of Time, when we got it, I just started playing the Master Quest edition.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, was that a difficult... When I went back, after I beat Master Quest, I went back and I played just the regular.
Yeah.
That was boring.
Yeah.
That was really boring. But the thing about about the Legend of Zelda that I find interesting now, I'm partway through Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
And after playing Ocarina of Time, after playing Wind Waker, after playing Skyward Sword, after playing
Twilight Princess,
which was still one of my favorites, And of course, I've played Breath of the Wild. This is the first time I have seen a Zelda game where I care about Zelda.
Yeah.
And it was really unfortunate that Nintendo didn't give the voice actress for Zelda a little more to work with in Breath of the Wild, because she's just so gratingly whiny in that role. It was really hard to feel sorry for her. But here in Tears of the Kingdom, we have a slightly older, a slightly more mature Zelda who makes an absolutely crucial decision. And I don't know if you're familiar with what it is.
So, for reference, I have not played Tears of the Kingdom because, I just don't have time at the moment. But and I wasn't going to beat it in a weekend. I did go watch a lore recap, though.
Okay.
Story recap. So, I'm aware of the basic storyline of the game and what's going on.
So I am at a point in the game where, and this is hopefully not too much of a spoiler, probably everybody watching this will have beaten the game already. Zelda turns herself into an immortal dragon, gives up herself, turns herself into this dragon so that she can deliver the healed Master Sword to Link in her timeline, the one that we are playing in. And it is the first time where I kind of felt like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they did that. Mm-hmm. Because the idea of doing that, I think, kind of just horrifies me a little bit, losing your humanity.
Yeah.
And this is the one of the times when it just made me wonder what's more important, story versus gameplay. The creators of your brother and I had a long conversation about this, and he was telling me some of the backstory of how the idea is gameplay always comes first over
I was telling you about this
story. Did we talk about this also?
Yeah, we talked about this for a little bit, and I'll go into it in a little more in detail.
So like, I understand that you're making a video game, you're not making a television show, so the gameplay has to take the priority. But I'm wondering if that's starting to change now, or if by necessity that has to change, because the story has to be compelling. The story has to be interesting. The cut sequences in Tears of the Kingdom are a little bit long.
Yeah.
But not annoyingly so, and you can always skip through them if you really want to. So I'm really interested. In every other game that we've played, Zelda is this helpless princess who needs to be saved.
Yeah. But
she's crucial to the solution at the end, to the battle at the end, where she has to be part of a team where she's working with Link, and you can't beat the game without her, right? Okay. And that's all good. So now I'm halfway through Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute. Here we have a major departure from this key end of the story sequence. How do you defeat Ganon or Ganondorf if you don't have Zelda and her golden bow and her golden arrows?
Yep.
In fact, Zelda
is the tradition,
right? Yeah. Which is the tradition. So, does she somehow return to her form for the end of the game, or does the Zelda dragon become the critical part of killing Ganondorf? And does she remain a dragon for all eternity, or does she somehow return to herself? Mm-hmm. And the other thing about it that got my attention is she's the last of the bloodline.
Yeah. Who's
going to rule Hyrule after this if she's gone?
Yep.
And so I have all of these questions, and I think, wow, Nintendo, nicely done. But I'm more interested in the story than the gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah, you had told me that the gameplay wasn't really your thing in this one. And from what I've seen, it just feels, because you know that this game was made because Nintendo had too many ideas for Breath of the Wild DLC.
Right.
So they just made a new game.
Right.
So, and this is where I'm going to get into my little thing. So, oh, Shigeru Miyamoto. Legendary game creator, legendary game designer. He's the guy who came up with Mario and Donkey Kong and Legend of Zelda. He's the creator, and he's got a ton of other games that he has helped found.
Mm-hmm.
His is the philosophy that in a video game, gameplay comes first.
Okay.
And you're right. I'm gonna pull a note up before I. The issue with his mentality has become that he is one of the higher ups at Nintendo now. He is one of the lead designers, lead creators at Nintendo. And I don't know if it's a Japanese thing. Someone in the comments can please fill me in. I don't want to sound like super ignorant about it, but from what I've heard, it seems like Japan really emphasizes respect your elders, and elders, whatever the elders say, has more sway in any given situation. So the stories that I've heard, through interviews and videos that I've watched talking about game development, Yoshiaki Koizumi is a game director at Nintendo, and probably one of his best known is Mario Galaxy, which is a fantastic game. Not to go all Scott the Woz on everyone, but it is a great Mario game. It's a reference he won't get. And he really wanted to put a bit of story into Mario Galaxy. Now, Mario games, super simple. They're always the same thing. Save the princess. Princess Peach is captured. Go through all the levels. Save the princess. There's not a lot to work around with that. So there's not a lot to work around in terms of, story. But what he wanted to do was put in a backstory for one of the new characters, Rosalina. And apparently, Koizumi, who was, young and kind of up and coming at the time, had to fight tooth and nail to get even the smallest semblance of backstory put into the game. And it wasn't like in Legend of Zelda where the story gets played out, as you go along the main quest. It was put in a side area in the game, and you had to go into this area, and it was told in storybook form. Like the character was reading aloud a storybook,
Gotcha.
and they put it in that way. But apparently he had to fight hard because Shigeru Miyamoto was adamant that story isn't the priority in a game, the gameplay is, and he seems to take it to the point where I don't care if there even is a story. He just wants the gameplay to be fun. Now, not to be the dude screaming on YouTube who has never made a video game in his life start criticizing, the legend of video games, but I do play a lot of video games, and if you are familiar with the modern gaming scene, games are becoming bigger deals nowadays. They have story, actors, writers, directors, artists, programmers. It's no longer just sit at a computer and put some code in. You
cap motion and
mocap is huge. There are stunts. It's a whole industry, and it combines from every other entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. It is huge. And you can't always make a direct one-to-one comparison with movies, but some games nowadays are putting a lot of effort into telling a good story as well as having serviceable gameplay that backs up the story. And then this is where that balance comes in.
Right.
Because I don't know, and I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but as a video game player myself, I am perfectly fine with a video game that has adequate, serviceable gameplay that is entertaining enough to ride me through the story. If your game has good controls, they're decent, nothing special, but you know what? I can use them, I can understand them, they're simple, they're easy, and they're decently fun, then yeah, I'm probably going to play through your game to see the story. I think God of War 4 is a great example of it. Beat the story of it, didn't go back and complete it, didn't go back and earn any extra collectibles,
right.
Didn't do anything else, because the gameplay was just a case of, this is fun as I'm progressing through this story, and
Sure.
I want to do that. but I have no desire to play this afterwards. I got my money's worth out of experiencing this story. I'm good. On the flip side, you have something like one of the newest Spider-Man games, Spider-Man for PS4, where the controls are so good that I don't care about the story. I just want to be Spider-Man, and I want to go web slinging through New York City because it's just that much fun. So, for me, it's very interesting that Nintendo has gone so far with these new Legend of Zelda games and started throwing more story in there. And I think that's why they've seen the success with these two that they have, is because they're reinventing themselves. They took Legend of Zelda and they kind of reinvented it, and it won Game of the Year, and Breath of the Wild is very different from most other Zelda games. They're kind of open world, they're pseudo open world. You've got all these dungeons to go to, but Breath of the Wild threw out the dungeons for the most part. Gave you a massive open world to explore. It's Skyrim light with a cartoon skin.
The beautiful part about the graphics in Breath of the Wild are gorgeous. Mm-hmm. The beautiful part about Breath of the Wild, and here it's follow-up Tears of the Kingdom, is that if you don't want to seriously pursue the storyline sequence, you can just go play. And the difficult part about playing both of these games is that I am forever having a squirrel moment. Mm-hmm. I have a target. I've pulled up my map. I've set a marker. I'm getting ready to glide to it. I jump off the cliff. I've got the little kite out. I'm flying through the air, and it's like, oh, look at that down there. And suddenly, an hour later, I am 8 miles away from my intended target, wondering how the heck I got there, but it is one squirrel moment after another squirrel moment after another squirrel moment. And I was on my 5th playthrough of Breath of the Wild when I found a section of the map that I had never seen before, that I had never, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like Gem Central. I loaded my wallet with stuff in this section. So the beautiful part about it, and now that Tears of the Kingdom is basically a 3-layer game, because you've got the sky right, in the underground, and your mom, being a mapper and an analyst, right, she figured out things on this map right away where we're looking at it going, wait, what? She's like, oh, no, I got this. This works this way, and this way. And then you say, how do you know that? And she just turns and she looks at you and says, you know what I do for a living? I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And but she's right. Yeah, I admitted my wife was right in public, in front of a camera. We might have to edit that out. But they have some elements of great story writing. The relationship between Link and Midna in Twilight Princess is incredible. And when you see the mirror break and you realize that connection is completely severed, it's like, no! So somebody's getting through to the writers, because they do kind of grab your heartstrings and they tug just a little bit.
They can. They've always had the ability. I'll say from the story perspective, you know what my favorite game from the story perspective is?
Of all the Zelda games?
Of all the Zelda games.
Ooh, good question. No, I have no clue.
It is Wind Waker.
Really?
It is 100% Wind Waker, and it is just for Ganon's speech at the end of the game.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Here you have Nintendo. I mean, I don't know how far you've gotten in Tears of the Kingdom. Have you seen him in Tears of the Kingdom? Mm-hmm. He's just Ganon again.
Yes, he is.
It's just Ganon again. Mm-hmm. That is the same Ganon we saw in Twilight Princess. It is the same evil being we saw in Skyward Sword. I know it was demised. Don't at me. It's the same one in Ocarina of Time. It's the same villain with the same motivations, and it's the same cut, copy, and paste Ganondorf we have seen in just about every game.
Mm-hmm.
But in Wind Waker, he's showing regret.
Mm-hmm.
He still can't, fix it the way he, in a healthy, good way that would benefit everyone.
Right.
He still is self-centered and still thinks that I can fix it and I can make it better and I can still have my way. But he shows so much regret and he's got, remorse a little bit, and he's just more interesting in that one. Plus, Tetra was fun.
Tetra was fun.
And then they Zelda'd her.
Well, but she goes back to being Tetra.
She does.
So there's an interesting...
And Link actually had a reason to go off on an adventure in that game. His sister was captured.
Right, there's a good motivation there.
You see a bond there, which is fun.
You get the people trying to do the whole timeline sequence and determine how do these games all meet together, and I've listened to some really, really long expositions on this, which I don't even think I remember them, to be honest with you. But there's this idea that there's a couple of different timelines, starting with Ocarina of Time, the timeline where Link wins the game, and the timeline where Link loses.
No. Zelda or Nintendo even said it's in that book where it splits into 3 after Ocarina of Time.
Right,
There's 2 where the hero wins because there's an adult timeline
right,
and a child timeline, and then the loser timeline, which never made any sense.
Which I don't understand the loser timeline.
I
really don't.
You can lose in any Zelda game.
So does yeah? Well, that's just it. I always think while I'm playing, there's an electronic green room where all the characters are like drinking coffee, waiting to see who goes on, and when you get game over, would you like to restart? Link reappears inside the green room, and Ganon looks at him and says, "Oh, is Billy controlling you again?" Well, that explains it. It's just like this is like your 4th return in 20 minutes. What's going on? It's like, if I were to make a parody movie of Zelda, it would be in the green room while the characters go disappear and then they come back. It would be a riot.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, you know what? I'm going to keep playing this. I do want to go back and revisit Wind Waker. Mm-hmm. I want to finish Majora's Mask. I never have.
I know. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the 2D games at all.
Neither.
I've been told that some of them are really fun.
I don't know what it is about 2D games. I can't wrap my head around 2D.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always been an issue. Hello.
Studio wife just made an appearance behind the camera. We were trying to figure out why.
2D has never made any just sense in my brain. Never been able to, but hey.
The biggest problem for me is visually the playing screen is so small and you can't see the things around it that it just makes it very hard for me to figure out where to go, what to do. You've got these, little pathways to go on, and yeah. But we are big Zelda fans in the house, and fighting over game controller time is hey, that's always a big deal.
Yeah. No, it's continued. Here's me and Link cosplay for my embarrassment and your entertainment.
You will never see that. With me. Although I have made a Hylian shield.
Yep.
For Halloween. I have made the Ocarina volcano suit Link costume. I have made the Ocarina green costume.
You made the gloves.
I did make the gloves. Yes, I did. Yeah.
We like Zelda.
I've done a lot of Zelda cosplay.
We like Zelda in this
What
house.
do you think of Zelda? You know, we've been kind of rambling about this for a little bit.
You just wanted to talk about the story of Tears of the Kingdom and how it's
You know what?
It brought you into it.
It really did. This whole
Kind
question
of
of what's going to happen.
Of what gaming can do with its storytelling, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, does anybody else play Zelda? Do you feel the same way? Do we need more story in Zelda or less?
I think fans have been telling Nintendo for a while that they've needed more story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't pay attention to stuff like that.
But let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Have you beaten Tears of the Kingdom? Did you like it? Did you like the story? What is your favorite Zelda game?
Don't spoil the ending for me in the comments!
Yeah, don't do that.
I'll get there soon enough. And 2025 is not that far away.
And I've always wanted to, and I still do, talk about some of the best comments that we have gotten on some of our videos. So I wanted to pull up one that I saw for a comment of the week.
Okay, while you're pulling the comment of the week, whoever came up with the character of Beetle, he is one of the best parts of Zelda. I don't care where he appears. Skyward Sword. He's absolutely fantastic.
Oh, where was it?
Oh, you won't give me the Beetle? Oh, I thought I knew you.
First off, everyone's very excited about all your recent announcement with the reading One Piece. So most of the comments have been that. There's a lot of them. We are trying to get through them. I think this one is my favorite, and I will put it up on screen. This was from a couple days ago. Better Than Dune People by Ryan Ross. Thank you for catching it.
I did see that one. I remember that. Yeah, that's
We
good.
were highly entertained by that. So thank you everyone so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.